G'day guys, Magic Bronson here. I just wanted to make a quick video today about Stratholme and farming for the Baron Rivendare mount. I think it's an awesome mount. I've tried 270 times now to get this mount to no avail. But one thing I noticed in pre-patch as a byproduct, I was making a decent amount of gold. Certainly not the optimal gold per hour of, you know, doing certain professions or gathering or maybe some other instance related farms, but it was a good byproduct of trying to get the mount and having a bit of gold. Now that I've hit 80, I've maxed out professions, I've got pre-biz and, you know, now I'm running Nax. I've got a little bit of spare time now to do some of this extra stuff in the game, and I decided to revisit Stratholme recently, and I've been playing around with just adding a few extra pulls to increase that gold incentive while I'm farming for the mount. Is this your best gold per hour? Absolutely not. However, while farming for the mount, it's a really great way to pick up some extra gold. The one pull I'm doing, it's netting about 300 gold per hour. The additional pull is around 400 gold an hour, so it's not bad considering you're there for one purpose, and that's to get the mount. Gold's just a nice little byproduct, as I said. Now, where's the gold coming from? We're looting and we're vendoring, basically. There are a few little bits and pieces that you can keep and try and sell on the auction house. Aquamarines, for example, pristine black diamonds, undeath, bloody, whatever they're called. I'm having a mind blank. But they're materials that people will use to level professions, and no one's farming this stuff anymore, so they are going for a little bit higher than they really should be. So these are some little things that you can list. You can also keep your rune cloth and list that as well. I'm super lazy. I just vendor it, I'll be honest. But you know, bag space is a premium. I really should clear up more of this room, but I'm vendoring stuff after each run. Now, where do we vendor? There's really three ways or three places to do it. One is with a repair bot. There's three different repair bots that you can make if you're an engineer. That's the classic one, the TBC one, and the Wrath one. Now, I don't opt for this method purely because I'm lazy. I don't want to go and buy or source the materials to make them every single time that I need one. But if you want to do that, or you've got a surplus, by all means. The second method, which is what I'm opting for, is the Traveler's Tundra Mammoth. Now, it's a big gold investment, 16k gold if you're exalted with Kirin Tor. However, I'm going to have it for the rest of the game. It was worth it to me based on my laziness. There's a poison vendor here, so, you know, it's handy for me, but it's not going to be for everybody. So I sell after each run from this particular vendor. The third option, though, if you don't have access to engineering or this mount, or you just don't want to invest that kind of gold, over here in Terradale, there's a vendor here that becomes available after you complete one quest. Super quick, takes 2 minutes to do. You go talk to him, get the quest, head over to this building here. Now, you pick up a book, take it back to him, and that opens up the ability to be able to sell to him. It takes a couple minutes to head over and back. It's not too bad, really. If you've got enough bag space to do 2 to 3 runs, then it's definitely worth just traveling over, selling, coming back. Now, I really recommend that you get a guildie or someone to add your alt into your group, form a group with your alt, so you can do log out resets. You will be teleported back to the graveyard, which is perfect. We want to be here because it's a really short distance into Stratholme on the live side where we want to do the pulls. Talk briefly about gear. Gear isn't super important. You don't need full biz or anything like that. I'm rolling around in a fair bit of pre-biz with a few biz pieces from Nax, but it's really not necessary. The most important thing I would recommend is having 2 weapons with life warding, preferably fist weapons, and preferably slow fist weapons. The reason being is life warding, you're going to be pulling, you know, 100 mobs, let's say. Every mob that you hit has a chance to proc the life warding. You're just going to be basically going down and then back up with your health straight away. You can just run 1, but it's not a particularly expensive enchant. I would just run 2 personally, just to be sure. As for poisons, I just recommend instant poison. All fights here in Stratholme are so quick that you're just not going to get value out of deadly poison, to be honest. So on my combat setup, I just run instant poison on both rather than opting for deadly on the paper cutter. So yeah, I'm just running a greed, which is just from a heroic culling of Stratholme and the librarian's paper cutter. But you can just get a reputation main hand fist weapon, or you know, anything you can get really. So talents, so I got this from Simonize, the Simonize Discord. It's a Fan of Knives talent build. Most important thing is focus attacks. Basically, you crit, you get energy back. So you're hitting 100 mobs, you're critting fairly often, and you're getting a ton of energy back, so you can continue to cast Fan of Knives, which is great DPS and more procs for your life warding. As for glyphs, so the only really important one here, I use this in raids while I've got Tricks of the Trade, but it's the Fan of Knives, increased damage, and Glyph of Picklock. Now this is super important because when you're doing the pulls, you're going to be coming across some gates which you need to open instantly. So it's very important you don't have the key to the city, because if you have the key to the city, you'll want to manually open the gate. Pick lock, you can just pick the lock, but if you've got the key, it won't let you pick the lock, so to speak. So let's get into a pull and we'll show the route that I go. I just don't want to start the encounter early, is why I stealth there. 8 out of 10 times you'll make it through, but these skellies pad a little bit.
That ability isn't ready yet.
So we'll pull this guy. I want to try not to aggro mobs because they'll get pulled naturally from the mobs behind. Pull here. We sprint. Need to make sure that your life warding weapons are on. Made that mistake before. And this is the other pack that you need to aggro.
I'm out of range.
Because they'll pull these guys. Let's turn him around. They'll pull these guys. It's a little bit tight without the rocket boot enchant, but it's definitely doable. Pull here. I'm going to pop evasion now. Pull here. Pop adrenaline rush. Blade flurry. And then spin to win. Now one thing that can trip you up is the gargoyles.
Have enough energy.
If you get any gargoyles, they can stun you, and it's really annoying because if you're not stunning, you're not casting Fan of Knives, you're not getting life back, and you just get clobbered by 100 mobs. It's death by 1,000 needles, so to speak. So 2 things you can do. 3, you can pray. You can bring faps, or you can be human and use will to survive. It helps you once, but if you get stunned again, you're a little bit boned. 9 times out of 10 you'll be fine, but there'll be that one time. Essence of Undeath, that was the word I was looking for before. Essences of Undeath still are not too bad on the server at the moment, again because people are using them for leveling professions. There's a key to the city. We want to delete that, get rid of it. I need some kind of macro to delete that. Now, I really want Adrenaline Rush for this next pull, but we'll see how we go without it. You miss a few little packs. I miss Skull, unfortunately, but I'm not going to waste my time going back and getting him. Sprints back up. Pull this guy while he's still in Stratholme. I'm going to blind him. He's really annoying. He stuns you up into the air. I want to try and pull these as late as possible. Let the packs behind pull them, if it can be helped. Now you are going to take a bit of damage here, because we need to use sprint as late as possible. I'm going to pop evasion here while I curve around. Sprint. Will to survived out of that. You could have also cloaked out of that. Now the reason we want sprint is we want to make it through this gate, and we didn't make it. That's okay.
Not ready yet.
Energy regen starting to slow down. No adrenaline rush.
I can't loot that. I can't loot that.
Sometimes you make it through this gate, sometimes you don't. It felt like it went down very quickly there, very early. But that's the second pull to push you into that 400 gold per hour category. It's not a big deal for me. I'd rather my time. Extra 10 minutes to, you know, relax a little bit. But I would have ran up here, pulled to the end, and just line of sighted behind this place there. Gather these guys as well, and just finish the mobs over there. Now we run back and we just do the rest of the run. So if you don't want to do that second pull and you're like me, want to opt for the slightly easier route, I will kill this guy while we're here.
It's so
Then we would have moved on after the church. So we pull them all into there and just move on. The rest of the run, to be honest, it's pretty straightforward. If you've done Barren Mount runs before, then you're not going to see too much that you didn't already know. I don't generally pull anything in here. There's a lot of gargoyles, a lot of stuns, a lot of roots. Super annoying mobs through here. I just don't even bother. This is where I just gun for Baron at this point. But the good thing about this is just my way of doing it. You'll do these runs. You may even figure out a better route, a better way to do it. But it definitely highlights what's possible with fan and knives and life warding. Hopefully this gives you some ideas. Especially seeing as they've nerfed a little bit the Kara farm that was available to rogues with putting an instance cap on raid lockouts. But there are always variations of things that you can do. And once I get the Barren Mount, I'll come up with something else to try and fill in a bit of time, that because I find instance gold farming really fun. There's no rush, there's no competition, it's just you and your ability. Talk about some weak auras that I have. So I have an auto looter. It would be loaded. Auto roll. So it just automatically rolls greed. Just don't forget that you got it. And you know, have it set to all need or something, and rock up to your MSOS on group loot.
It's too far away.
Sometimes you run into those, sometimes you don't.
I have enough energy.
It's not a big deal. If anything goes wrong or you pull anything, it's only an extra 10 seconds into your run, really. I mean, sometimes I pull these guys, sometimes I don't. It's really not a big deal. I mean, they could drop a green and make it all worth it anyway. A little bit of extra vendor.
I can't loot that.
I've also been pretty slack in this run, optimizing the sprint and the boots. Obviously, just wanted to show you a run without the rocket boots, but it definitely makes it comfortable. You know, you can even use sappers and whatnot with your big pulls, but yeah, we're talking less than 1% difference. Switch back to life warding weapons. I do like to leave sprint up for this room. It's not necessary, but just makes collecting these belchers a little bit easier. Slap them on the bum. Couple cooldowns, because why not? I'll try and get them a little bit closer to the door because we want to move in as soon as it opens, essentially. Just need to get in there before it closes so we don't have to go through waiting for it to open and whatnot.
I can't carry anymore.
And bags are full.
Inventory is full.
That's okay. We'll sort that out in a sec. But yeah, a lot of loot to pick up, a lot of loot to vendor. 300 gold really is kind of the minimum. But we've obviously done the extra pull here, so you really want to make sure you got max bag space. I'll just vendor some, just delete some rubbish. Oh my god. Overkill. Let's make this a little bit more tolerable. Eat some cheese, get rid of that, and get rid of that.
I can't loot that. I can't loot that.
Alright, switch back to my combat, weapons, overkill buff, and yeah. Baron's piss, you don't need any cooldowns for him. I mean, it's a level 62 mob, that's fine. No mount, but yeah, that's basically the run. And yeah, like I said, I recommend you get someone else in your group, or get someone to add your ult into the group so you can log out, do a reset, and end up back at the graveyard so you can run again. Well guys, I hope you have more luck than I have with Baron so far. Let's see, what run is that? Dungeons, classic, 273. Yeah, I'm sure the next one will drop it for sure. Not copium at all. Alright, thanks guys.